Here's one of the most common reasons I've heard from employers as to why an interview did not go well. It just felt like he didn't even prepare. Honestly, I think they were just winging it. Here's another. I wasn't convinced they really want the job. Oh, and here's a good variation. She just had such little curiosity in us. Ouch. It literally boggles my mind. Like, I'm boggled, bruh, on on how often I hear this. Everything that you've done so far in this huge process, all these resumes that you sent out, it all comes down to this, the interview. This is when the decision is going to be made as to whether it's you or another of the top candidates. And you're not going to prepare? You're not going to put in that effort? You're not curious enough about how you're going to spend potentially years of your life to come up with some questions about that? Then yeah, sorry, you don't deserve this job. And also, thanks for wasting our time. And also, thanks for wasting your time, the candidates. So the good news for you, the person watching this video, is that by even just getting this far, you are already showing that you know that you need to prepare, that you need to put in this effort. And that alone is putting you ahead of scores of other candidates. Mind-blowing. Having looked at this process so many times from so many different angles, here is one of my key beliefs. From the employer's point of view, with all else being basically equal, we most want the candidate who most wants us. Now, am I suggesting that you beg? Nope. No, not suggesting that. Begging is not a good look. We don't want desperation. We want confidence. We want you to show us how much you want us by showing us how much you've researched, how much you've prepared, how much you've thought about not just this moment, the interview itself, but this career change or this next big giant step in your career by coming here not just with an understanding of, what it is we do here, but that you are extremely interested and curious as to what it is you're going to be doing here for potentially years of your life. Because once we've narrowed our candidate pool down to a handful of people that all have the same requisite skills and experience that we are looking for, but one of those candidates comes to the interview and confidently shows us how much she wants to be a part of our organization by how much she has researched, how much she has prepared, by having clearly thought out how her previous experiences and skills will fit into the work that we do here, and by being genuinely curious about her future with us. I mean, who would you choose? I learned this lesson very early on in my career in one of my first law school internships. There used to be this very small, very well-respected civil rights law firm in New York City, and I wanted in. Problem was, it seemed to me anyway, that they tended to only hire interns from the top 10 or so law schools, and I didn't go to one of those. The new associate that the firm had just hired while I was interviewing for an intern position, his most recent position was as a clerk to a justice on the United States Supreme Court. This firm got the best. So how was I going to get in? I'll talk in more detail about this particular experience later, but suffice it to say here that I pushed and I pushed and I pushed. And when I finally got hired, on my very first day of work, I went to the hiring manager's office and I asked her why in the world she chose me over all the other presumably fantastic candidates. And her response to me was this: you wanted it more. You wanted it more. Was I desperate? Nope. I had plenty of other options. I was fully confident in knowing precisely what I wanted, and I was determined to get it. Ultimately, what all of this shows is passion. We'll talk a lot about that. The way I showed this passion was through a lot of preparation, and the way I built my confidence was through a lot of practice. We prepare by thinking about how we're going to make our case for why they should choose us over the presumably many other qualified applicants. How we're going to make our pitch and how we're going to tie skills that we've previously had success with to the work we're hoping to do for them. We practice not to memorize our answers, but to build confidence that we'll know what to say, whatever we're asked. So in my little story with that civil rights law firm, I had preparation, I had practice, I also had persistence, all of which showed passion. And all of that was enough to get me in, despite maybe not having the same level of credentials as some of the other candidates.